Great day, everybody. Phil Hahn here from EXP University. And I'm going to cover a few of the objections that we hear often in the marketplace, depending on the type of market that we're in. So if we're dealing with a for sale by owner and they want to try to sell their home themselves, and ultimately people want to do so because they want to save on the fee for service. And so what I like to say is, okay, so I understand that you want to save on your fee for service, Mr. and Mrs. for sale by owner. However, if I could show you a way that you can sell your home faster and for more money, you'd be open to that, wouldn't you? And most of the time, the for sale by owner will say yes. Well, how do you do that? Well, Mr. and Mrs. for sale by owner, we're so confident in our ability to get your home sold that you can sell it simultaneously and market it at the same time that we're doing so. And should you find a buyer from your own efforts, you pay us absolutely nothing. I call that my 0% plan, okay? And they're like, oh my goodness, how do you do that? Well, folks, you know what? We're that confident in our ability that we will get the job done, and it's a race. And we only want to be paid and compensated for what it is we do versus what it is we don't do. So that's our 0% plan. Now, should you find a buyer from your own efforts, but you want help with the paperwork and seeing the agreement through to close and escrow and all that stuff, the inspections, then we'll happily do it for only 1% of the selling price, okay? And of course, if we find a buyer off of our own efforts, then you pay us our full fee. So that's what we call our absolute amazing for sale by owner experience. And it really reverses the risk for the for sale by owner, okay? The next thing are expired listings, properties that have been on the market, but unfortunately were improperly priced and didn't sell within that realistic time frame and for that realistic selling price number. And so how we handle that objection is we'll call the seller up and we'll say, so for instance, the seller says, oh, I'm just going to relist the home with my other agent that had it before. And we'll say, well, that's interesting. You mean the agent that didn't sell the home? And they're going to be like, oh, okay. And so folks, listen, we'd love to give you a free checkup and a second opinion on what it is that we do to sell homes fast for top dollar with the least amount of hassle. And so, you know what, we'd love to come by. I've got some availability this morning, say around 10 o'clock, or alternatively, we could do say 1 p.m. this afternoon. And we can give you that second opinion and that fresh perspective on why it is your home may not have sold. And of course, it's free of charge and obligates you to absolutely nothing. And so that really removes the risk and it opens the sellers up to getting that second opinion. And as we know, the battle is always to the kitchen table. And so whoever can get to the kitchen table and has a presentation strategy and a strategy, most of the time will be able to secure the business. So that's one of the ways that we handle expired listings, okay? And then when someone says, well, I want to wait till the spring market. Oh, you want to wait till the spring market? Well, that's interesting. Do you know that, yes, there are more transactions that happen during the spring. However, there are a tremendous amount more homes on the market, and therefore there's so much more competition. And folks, we don't know what's going to happen in the spring versus we know what's happening in the market today. So why don't you pay us the ultimate compliment? We'll get your home to market. We'll get it sold fast for top dollar and with the least amount of hassle. So that's one thing I like to do is basically just emphasize that the market that we're in today is really all we know. And in the spring, there tends to be a far, far, far larger and greater amount of inventory available for the buyers. Another objection that we hear quite often is the objection, especially over the holidays, the Christmas holidays is that, oh my goodness, we don't want to sell our home, have our home on the market during the holidays. And I've got quite a few rebuttals to this one. One of my favorites is, well, folks, during the holidays, people tend to be emotional and excited and enthusiastic, and they tend to pay more. Okay, that's one. Another is, folks, people that are looking at real estate during the Christmas holidays tend to be really serious, okay? There's so much else going on right now at this time of year that if they're actually looking at homes, they tend to be really, really serious, okay? One of the other great objections is that people come and visit their family and friends from all over the world. And you know what? They have that unique buying time frame over the holidays. And for some of us, we need to buy before year end. So it's a great time to get into a firm transaction, okay? Plus, people see a home that's decorated. They're going to be excited, enthusiastic about it. They may even pay more for your home, okay, when they see it all decorated. Another one, of course, is that you can also control the showings, of course, and schedule them according to your schedule so that, you know, people aren't coming during Christmas dinner, etc. So you have complete autonomy. And of course, there are a lot less homes on the market during the holidays, which means your home will have a greater likelihood of selling fast for top dollar with the least amount of money, since there's much less competition and much less people on market at that point in time, okay? The other thing I like to do is when people talk about, you know, they want to price their home and how they're arriving on their price point, you know, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll take a look at the recent sales and say, okay, well, this home that's somewhat comparable and similar to yours sold for X number of dollars. You know, this one sold for, you know, Y number of dollars, etc. And that's great. You know, those sales are fantastic in determining value. However, those are historical, okay, anecdotal kind of price points, okay? I actually like to take a look at the competition in terms of what's active and to be in that 5 to 10% below the active comparable properties. And people are saying, oh my goodness, well, you know, why would anyone ever do that? Well, let me explain what happens. So if there's a home that's comparable to your home, folks, and it's priced at $1 million, okay, and it's in terms of price point, location, size of the home, and pedigree and year, very similar property. So I would say, okay, well, listen, we know this home is active and it's comparable in likelihood of people that are looking to buy a home such as this will be looking at your home as well as through this home. So why don't we price at least 5 to 10% below? And that way, our home is going to garner more attraction, more activity, and will have a greater likelihood of selling than the property that's currently on the market. Okay, so that's a really, really big plus, is using those active homes that are on the market and being priced 5 to 10% below. And folks, the likelihood of getting a bidding war and competing offers is much greater when we are priced competitively and more competitively than the properties that are on the market versus looking at the historical sold data. So the sales definitely come into effect when determining price point, but really hone down and take a look at those active listings, okay? Next big objection we hear oftentimes is the fee. Okay. Oh my goodness, folks, you know, your fee is too expensive. You know, Mr. Realtor, Mrs. Realtor, your fee is far too expensive. My cousin Jimmy, he just got his license and he's going to do it for X percentage. And of course, folks, fees are always negotiable. However, fee is always only an issue in the absence of value. And so where we find we get caught up in the fee discussion and the fee negotiation is when we really haven't shown and demonstrated our value by bringing our proper marketing strategy, our 101-point marketing system, okay, going through our comparative market analysis, showing the recent sales, the active listings, the expired listings, what's listed, what's sold, etc., the activity on the street, the activity of the property and the history of the property as well. And so when you come prepared for that appointment, fee really becomes negligible. Fee, however, is a huge hurdle when you're not prepared and you skip steps. So remember that, okay, folks? And that's my note for the day. Folks, reach out to me. I'm always available at 250-888-1719 or phil.hahn@exprealty.com to help you overcoming any objections or any challenges you're having with scripts and dialogues and, you know, whatever type of market it is you're dealing with. I'm here to serve and be of assistance. Have a great day.